I hadn't seen my sister Dana in over 3 months. We weren't fighting or anything, just distant ever since I started seeing Jordan. Her ex things had been awkward. She said she was fine with it, claimed they'd broken up nearly a year ago, but I knew Dana. I knew the way her voice turned sweet when she was masking something, the way her smile tightened when she was lying. Tonight was supposed to clear the air. She texted asking for a ride home from a party in Glendale. I was already in sweatpants, ready to watch a true crime doc, but I told myself to be mature. Be the bigger person. When I pulled up outside the apartment complex, Dana came stumbling toward my car in heels and a velvet dress, glittery purse swinging like she walked out of a 90s nightclub poster. "Hey stranger," she said, breathless as she got in. "You okay?" I asked. "Just starving," she sighed. "Can we please hit Taco Bell?" The one near Litchfield and Maine was open 24/7. I agreed. The drive-through line was already backed up. 3 cars ahead, 1 behind. We were boxed in, restaurant wall on one side, thick concrete curb on the other. I shifted into park, knowing we'd be stuck for a while. Dana groaned like we were waiting for gourmet food. "Calm down," I said. "Won't take long." She scoffed, then jokingly jabbed a finger toward the car in front. "Just nudge them," she said, smiling, but her eyes were off. Focused. Sober. "Yeah, no," I replied, adjusting the air. She didn't laugh. Instead, she shoved me hard. "What the hell, Dana?" "You know what's wrong with me," she said, voice suddenly cold and sober. Her eyes locked on mine. "You're sober," I whispered. She gave a humorless smile. "Had to make sure you drove. Had to make sure we were trapped." "What are you talking about?" She reached into her glittery purse and pulled out a silver knitting needle. Thin. Sharp. The kind she used in her videos. She held it to the light, it gleamed. I kept my voice calm. "Put that away. I just want to talk," she said, sweet and sing-song. She lowered the needle, right to my neck. "Why did you take Jordan from me?" she whispered. My heart pounded. "We've been through this," I said. "You said it didn't matter. You said it was mutual." She shook her head. "I lied. I lie all the time. But not tonight." I glanced at the car ahead, couple chatting, oblivious. Behind us, the driver was scrolling his phone. No help. No escape. The needle touched skin. Just a poke, but I felt it. Cold. Sharp. "Let's play a game," she said, her breath warm. "You say you'll break up with Jordan, and I pull the needle back. Easy." I froze. It felt like a nightmare. I couldn't scream. Couldn't move. The point pressed deeper. I felt blood drip down my neck. "Dana," I whispered, "you're scaring me." "Good." I tried to relax my body, forced myself to breathe. Slowly, I reached for her wrist and twisted. The needle dropped to the floor. I stomped it with my heel. Dana shrieked, fought back, but I pinned her to the door and screamed for help. The couple ahead turned, saw us, saw the blood, and looked away. She reached into her purse again. I already knew. A second needle, this one gold-tipped. She raised it, trembling. "You act like I'm the crazy one," she said. "But you took something that wasn't yours." I said it again. "I'll end it. I swear." She stared, eyes wet, breath shaky. Then slowly, she lowered the needle. The car ahead pulled forward. Dana smiled like we just had a heart-to-heart. "Oh," she chirped, cheerful again, "get me a chalupa. And maybe a Baja Blast." I stared ahead. Shaking. Silent. The speaker crackled. I gave her order. Then added, just a cup of water. We drove home in silence. She hummed softly like nothing had happened. I didn't sleep that night. And I didn't dump Jordan. But I did block Dana the moment I got home. Because sometimes, the people who know you best, know just how to trap you. I never thought a Taco Bell job could break me down so fast, but 2 months in, working late shifts off Highway 47 in a town barely big enough for a Walmart, I was starting to understand burnout. It wasn't the job itself. Sure, it was gross sometimes, grease buildup, questionable meat, sticky soda syrup, but I could handle that. It was the vibe. Something about the place after 10 p.m., when the lot outside went dark and the last stragglers came in, felt wrong. Like the hours stretched longer than they should. Most nights it was just me, Caleb, and Danny. Caleb worked the line, moved fast, quiet guy. Danny was older, bounced between drive-through and prep. Intense, but not in a bad way. She didn't take crap. Ever. Things started going weird around week 6. One night, Danny just forgot how to make a Baja Blast freeze. She stared at the machine like it was alien. When I asked if she was okay, she blinked, hit the wrong button, and poured regular blue raspberry instead. "Oh crap, sorry," she said, tossing the cup. "Long day." But her voice didn't match her expression. Caleb noticed too. "You see Danny tonight?" he asked one night after she'd gone to grab tortillas. "She's been talking to herself. No phone. Nothing." I laughed it off. Maybe she was just stressed. But it got worse. She stopped joking. Moved slower. Like she had to remember how to do basic stuff. Then one Friday, I heard a loud clang from the dry storage room. I turned and saw Danny backing out, pale as a ghost. "What happened?" I asked. "There was someone in there," she whispered. Caleb checked. "Nothing. Not even a rat." "I saw him," Danny said. "He was smiling." She smoked outside after that, but the tension stayed. A cold, creeping dread. She called out the next day. Our manager Claire filled in. When I asked if Danny was okay, Claire just said, "Something's getting to her. Keep an eye on Caleb too." Next week, Caleb's hands were shaking. He dropped a burrito. Said he felt sick. Took a break outside. When he came back, he looked hollow. Tired. Like he'd aged overnight. Then I saw him standing near the fryers after close, just watching. I asked what he was doing. He didn't turn. "I saw it too," he whispered. The man. Just standing there. Smiling. After that, the place started changing. The smell came first, wet dirt, like a cave. Claire freaked when the freezer door jammed shut one night. Half the food spoiled. She didn't believe us until she tried opening it herself. It was sealed tight. Melted rubber like it had fused closed. Mold showed up next, black streaks behind the fryers. No bleach worked. Pest control couldn't identify it. Then Caleb disappeared. Danny was MIA. Claire put me on closing with a new hire named Josh. He lasted 2 nights. I heard whispers, he told me before quitting. Voices calling my name. Claire stayed late one night to help. I was sweeping near the front when I heard her scream. She pointed to the cooler. "The door," she gasped. It opened. By itself. She quit the next day. 2 weeks later, the store shut down. The official reason was structural safety and biohazard remediation. But I knew the truth. I saw what it did to them. Caleb. Danny. Even Claire. I went back once after it was boarded up. Yellow condemned sign on the window. I sat across the street and thought. How does something like a Taco Bell go wrong? Experts said the mold was a mutated fungus. Something that affected the mind. But no one could explain where it came from. I never saw Danny again. Caleb moved out of state. I started working at a gas station. I don't take night shifts anymore. Because some places don't need ghosts to be haunted. Some things live in the walls, waiting. And once they start to grow, they don't stop. I never thought something so terrifying could happen to my family, especially in a place as ordinary as a Taco Bell. But maybe that's what made it possible. The familiar has a way of hiding nightmares in plain sight. It creeps into your life, blending with routine until, one day, everything changes. We moved back to Stillwater, North Carolina, after years away. I'd burned out from my corporate job, and my wife Emma and I wanted a quieter life for our 2 kids, Claire and Jack. We found a modest home outside of town, remote, peaceful, with woods behind it and mountain views. It had been on the market for 7 months, but that didn't stop us. Emma said it felt wrong. I thought it was just nerves. Rumors started surfacing soon after we moved in. Locals at the gas station would make strange comments. One night, at the town's small Taco Bell, bare bones, no dining room, just a couple of booths, Emma was asking Claire if she wanted cinnamon twists when a teenage girl behind the counter leaned toward me. "You guys live out near Garrison Ridge?" I nodded. "You know a girl went missing out there, right? Around your daughter's age. Last year. Cops searched for months. No one found her. She was last seen, here. At Taco Bell. She said the girl had been crying, saying she didn't want to go home. Nobody did anything." The story chilled me. Emma and I debated leaving, but we couldn't afford it. So we stayed. Watched the kids closely. Tried to move on. Then came late October. I picked up the kids from school and swung by Taco Bell for dinner while Emma worked late. Claire and Jack argued over nacho fries. I was buried in emails. Claire went to the bathroom. When she came back, she looked pale. "Daddy. Jack's gone." "What do you mean?" "He was here. Then he wasn't." I jumped up. His food, his notebook, still there. But he was gone. I asked the workers, checked the men's room, the hallway, even behind the counter. Nothing. They let me look at the cameras. We watched Claire leave. Jack stayed, drawing. Then he looked up, stared at the side hallway, stood, walked off screen, and never reappeared. No one came in. No one left. It was like he just vanished. We called the police. They searched everywhere. Nothing. The days blurred. Interviews, missing posters, sobbing. Then the dreams began. I'd wake up soaked in sweat, hearing Jack's voice whispering from behind walls. One night I dreamed I was in that booth again. Jack sat across from me. Pale. Afraid. "They're in the walls," he whispered. "Behind the fryer." I told no one. But I went back to the Taco Bell. Asked to see the maintenance room. The manager hesitated, but let me in. Just storage, until I noticed a panel near the floor. Cold air spilled out when I opened it. I called the cops. They found a tunnel system, old storm drains beneath the restaurant. Collapsed decades ago, winding beneath the plaza like a maze. And in one chamber, they found Jack. Alive. Filthy. Scared. Clutching a torn page from his notebook. He said he'd been chased by something he couldn't describe. He heard a voice that whispered his name. And he wasn't alone down there. They also found bones. Small ones. A pink shoe, torn at the toe. It belonged to the girl who vanished. Taco Bell closed. The tunnels were sealed. We didn't wait around. We left. Didn't even sell the house. Just disappeared like Jack almost did. Jack still wakes up screaming sometimes. Claire asks questions he won't answer. And me? I still dream of that booth, that hallway, that whisper in the dark. They're still down there. Waiting. I never thought my part-time job at Taco Bell would end in blood. It was a regular weeknight. I worked closing shifts with my cousin Daniel and my dad, Miguel. Just the three of us. My dad ran the register, Daniel handled the fryer and drive-thru, and I did prep and line work. We had our rhythm down. The restaurant was on Horizon and 23rd, wedged between a tire shop and a laundromat. Even late at night, it stayed busy. At around 10 p.m., the lobby was closed. Only the drive-thru was open. We had a steady stream of cars, nothing unusual. I was cleaning up my station when I heard my dad's voice crackle through the headset. "Welcome to Taco Bell, go ahead when you're ready." He always kept the volume way up, he'd gone a little deaf from factory work. Then came the reply, "Yeah." A man's voice. Deep, slow, with a weird slur that made my stomach twist. "For tacos. Extra sauce. 2 Cokes." I started prepping. The car pulled up, a black SUV with tinted windows. As it rolled down, I glimpsed 2 men inside. Their faces were wrong. Pale, waxy, uncanny. One had a scar down his cheek. They looked like brothers, but not quite human. Dad leaned out. $9.86. The driver handed him a $20 bill. My dad checked it under the black light, then stiffened. "This is fake." "It's real," the man said. "No, it's not," my dad replied. "Pay for real or leave." Then things snapped. The driver shoved the door open and lunged halfway through the window. A knife flashed in his hand. "Take the money, or I take your head off." Daniel screamed. My legs locked. My dad backed away, hands raised. "Get out. I'm calling the cops." I ducked under the prep table, whispering 911 into my phone. Please hurry." Then came the worst moment of my life. The man climbed through the window. My dad tried to fight him off, but the blade flashed. He collapsed. Daniel screamed. I ran to him. Blood covered the floor. I cradled him, crying, "Dad, stay with me." The 2 men didn't run. They just stood there, looking at what they'd done. The passenger picked up the bagged tacos. They walked back to the SUV, laughing. By the time the cops showed up, my dad was gone. The footage went viral for a couple of days, blurry, plates covered, no clear IDs. The men were never caught. We never went back. That Taco Bell reopened weeks later with new staff, better cameras. It didn't matter. My dad was still dead over a fake $20. My family shattered. My little brother still asks when Dad's coming home. My mom can't sleep without every light on. And me, I keep hearing his voice in my dreams, whispering, "You're okay." He was trying to protect me, even as he was dying. That's who he was. And the worst part? Those monsters are still out there, eating tacos somewhere, like nothing ever happened. I never expected to work in fast food again, not after high school. But desperation does strange things to your pride. The job at Taco Zone was meant to be temporary, just a stopgap after I dropped out of college and moved back in with my dad in a dying town called Fairpoint. Fairpoint didn't have much going for it. There was a Walmart, a gas station, a few fast food places that never closed, and a lot of people who looked like they'd given up around the same time the local factory did. Taco Zone was wedged between a liquor store and a payday loan place. its neon sign flickering purple and yellow 24/7 like a bruise that refused to fade. I applied online, got a response that same day, and was on shift the following evening. My manager, Tammy, was a short, tired-looking woman who seemed like sleep was just a rumor to her. She handed me a headset, pointed at the greasy register screen, and said, "Make sure no one walks out without paying. And don't leave the food window open too long, the rats'll come in." I thought she was joking. She wasn't. The place smelled like burnt oil, spoiled meat, and sour mop water. The floor was sticky, the cutting board stained orange from nacho cheese, and there was mold growing on the soda machine nozzles. One of the workers, Marcus, a wiry guy with a lazy eye and fingers yellowed from smoking, was lazily rolling burritos while watching something on his phone. Tammy leaned over and whispered, "He's been here 6 years. I wouldn't eat anything he makes." Then she laughed, wheezed, and went out back to smoke. I should have left. I didn't. Within a week, I got used to the rhythm of the place. Nights were mostly drunk people, stoners, and regulars who acted allergic to any restaurant that wasn't open 24 hours. The bathrooms were avoided like cursed tombs. The lunch rush usually ended with someone crying in the walk-in. But one regular stood out, George. George came in every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday around 3. Tall, probably in his 50s, always in a dirty green hoodie and sweatpants that looked like they'd never been washed. His stare was intense, direct and unsettling. He always ordered the same thing, 3 bean burritos, no sauce, no lettuce. And if we got it wrong? He didn't finish the threat. He didn't need to. We all got the message. He complained every time. Burritos too cold. Too hot. Soggy. Dry. Once he said the beans tasted like they'd been farted out of a corpse. Tammy gave him coupons to shut him up. Marcus flipped him off when no one was watching. But George never stopped showing up. The only one who seemed to enjoy messing with him was Alex, one of our line cooks. Alex had been fired and rehired multiple times because Tammy couldn't afford to be choosy. He had a permanent smirk and loved pushing buttons, especially George's. If George said no lettuce, Alex added extra. If George wanted mild, Alex used fire. One time, he added sour cream knowing George was lactose intolerant. When I asked why, Alex just shrugged and said, "If he keeps coming back, he's either into it or got nowhere else." At first, it was funny. Then it got weird. George got angrier. I saw him once, standing by the dumpster after closing. Just watching. One rainy Thursday, George came in soaked to the bone. Said nothing at first, then ordered his usual. Alex snickered and said, "Guess who's getting mayo today?" I told him to knock it off. He waved me off and said he'd fix it. 10 minutes later, I handed George his bag. It felt too light. George opened it on the spot, peeled one burrito open, and his face twisted. "You think this is funny?" he growled. "Smells like damn chemicals. What is this?" Before I could answer, Alex strolled over and said, "Sorry, man. You've had a rough time. I'll remake it. On the house. Hell, I'll give you 4. George blinked. "Really? Really?" Alex said. Something felt off. Alex wasn't the type to apologize, but George bought it and went to sit down. 15 minutes later, I gave him a new bag. I hadn't seen what went into it. Tammy had gone home. Marcus was in the walk-in. Just me and Alex. George ate fast. All 4 burritos. Then he sat there, staring at the wall. Then the coughing started. He staggered up, hit a table, vomit sprayed everywhere. He collapsed, convulsing, his skin pale, then green. I screamed for help. Alex was already outside smoking. By the time the ambulance came, George was unconscious in a pool of his own vomit. The toxicology report said it was rat poison. Enough to kill someone twice his size. Health inspectors shut us down the next day. The whole place was sealed. Rats in the ceiling. Mold in the ice machine. Meat a week expired. But the real story was George. Man poisoned at local taco zone. Criminal investigation underway. Tammy vanished. Marcus claimed he didn't see a thing. Alex never showed up again. Me. I quit. Swore off fast food for good. But I still think about that night. About Alex. About how calm he was. They never proved anything. The security cameras glitched out during the whole thing, of course they did. Sometimes when I walk past a back alley or a fast food dumpster, I swear I can smell those burritos again, old beans, a chemical bite, and something else underneath it all. Something dead. I never imagined leftover fast food could lead to something so violent. Back when it happened, I lived in a cramped boarding house just outside a small Indiana town called Hiram Grove. Not the kind of place you find in travel brochures. More like a forgotten speck on the map, where rusting trailers outnumbered homes and everyone knew too much about each other. Rent was cheap, that's the only reason I stayed. I lived with two other men, Ricky and Tom. Ricky was around my age, mid-50s. Tom was older, maybe mid-70s. We weren't friends, just three broke men waiting out life under the same decaying roof. The house was a wreck. Floors that threatened to cave in, holes in the walls, a kitchen faucet that only turned off with pliers. But it was what we could afford. Between social security checks and odd jobs, there wasn't much left over. Most of our meals came from the dollar menu at Taco Bell, burritos, tacos, whatever was cheapest. We labeled our food. Ricky used big Sharpie letters. Tom used red tape. I stuck napkins with my initials on my containers. It worked, until it didn't. Tom's memory started slipping. He'd forget things mid-sentence, sometimes eat something and forget he had. Ricky didn't take it well. He had a short temper and it had gotten shorter lately. The first blow-up happened over a missing crunch wrap. Ricky stormed in, red-faced, accusing Tom of stealing it. Tom looked confused. I tried to calm Ricky down, but he wouldn't hear it. "If either of you steal my food again, I'll gut you like a fish," he snarled. After that, everything got tenser. Ricky got moodier, muttered to himself, stopped watching TV with us. We all tiptoed around him. Then another item went missing, a quesadilla, and Ricky lost it. Screamed at Tom, pounded on his door in the middle of the night. Tom locked himself in his room. I stopped storing leftovers altogether. Then came the breaking point. One night, I was watching TV, eating tacos in the living room. After I finished, I cleaned up and went to bed. Just as I was falling asleep, I thought I heard whispers. Then I passed out. I woke up to screaming. I ran into the dark kitchen and found Ricky pinning Tom to the counter, choking him. "I know it was you, you lying thief," he screamed. Tom's face was turning purple. I shoved Ricky off him. "What the hell are you doing?" "He ate my chalupa." Tom crumpled to the floor, gasping. I helped him onto the couch while Ricky stormed outside to smoke. I told Tom I'd call the landlord. "He's going to kill someone," he mumbled. I decided to try talking to Ricky one last time. He was pacing in the backyard, chain-smoking. "You need to calm down," I said. "That old bastard's been stealing from me for weeks," he hissed. "I caught him at the fridge last night like a rat." "Ricky, it's just food." "Just food? Just food," he shouted, like the words had burned him. Then he ran back into the house. I chased after him, but he got in first and locked the door behind him. I pounded on the glass. "Ricky, open the door." He ignored me. Went straight to the kitchen. I saw him pull a knife. His face twisted into a manic smile. I screamed. I banged on the door until my hands bled. Then came the screams. The struggle. The horrible wet sounds. By the time police arrived, it was over. They found Ricky standing over Tom's body. Knife in hand. Smiling. I told you not to touch my food, he said. Tom had been stabbed 8 times. Ricky was arrested and charged with murder. He showed no remorse. At his arraignment, he told the judge, "I'd do it again." I moved out 2 days later. Couldn't sleep there after that. Still can't eat fast food without flinching. Not because of the food, because of the memory. Once you see someone snap over a Crunchwrap Supreme, you never look at them the same again.